If you're serious about raising money from investors, there's one thing that every single VC and institutional investor is going to ask you on day one. Are you a Delaware C Corporation? I've worked with dozens of startup founders who learned this the hard way. One founder came to me after he'd already started as a Pennsylvania LLC, then converted to a Pennsylvania C Corporation, and then had to convert again to a Delaware C Corporation because investors wouldn't touch him. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up a Delaware C Corporation the right way from the start, what documents you actually need, and the common mistakes you should avoid. Let's get into it. So why Delaware? Why not your home state? Before we get into the how, you need to understand the why. I get this question constantly. Can't I just incorporate in my home state? But see, Delaware has 200 years of case law specifically around business. The judges there have been handling corporate disputes since corporations have existed. That creates predictable law, and predictable law means protection for you and your investors. Now, compare that to somewhere like Wyoming. Most of the judges in Wyoming handle things like cattle rancher disputes, and that's not the kind of legal precedent you want backing your tech startup. So why do VCs want Delaware? It's the gold standard. There's the strongest shareholder liability protections, flexible stock structures that LLCs just can't match, and tax benefit called QSBS that can save you millions down the line. So if you want to raise money, incorporate in Delaware as a C corporation. And here's how you do it. Step 1. File your Delaware Certificate of Incorporation. This is your company's birth certificate. You'll file this with the Delaware Division of Corporations, and you can handle this online through their website. And you want to decide on a few things up front: your company name, how many shares you're authorizing, and most founders start with 10 million authorized shares. But why 10 million? Because it gives you flexibility. For example, you'll issue 4 million shares to the founders and leave room for the employee option pool and leave some room for shares for future investors. The costs and timing for filing in Delaware, the filing fee is around $109. Expedited processing is available, but more expensive, like a couple $100 more for same day or 24-hour service. You'll also need a registered agent in Delaware. This is a person or company that receives legal documents on behalf of your business. Services that do this cost around $100 per year. By the way, if at any point in this video you want professional help setting all of this up so that you can focus on actually building your business instead of wrestling with legal documents, click the first link in the description and book a free consultation with me. Step 2. Qualify to do business in your state. Just because you incorporated in Delaware doesn't mean you're done with your home state. If you're actually operating your business in California, New York, or wherever you live, you need to register as a foreign corporation in that state. This is called qualification to do business. Now, each state has different fees and requirements. Typically, you need to file a form with your Secretary of State office. So in California, this will cost you around $100. If you skip this step, you can get hit with fines and penalties. Step 3, create your company bylaws. Bylaws are the ground rules for how your company operates. They establish your board of directors, define officer roles, set procedures for meetings and decision making, and these are the internal documents. You don't file these with Delaware. They stay with your company records. Investors will absolutely want to see your bylaws during due diligence. Your bylaws should cover things like how many board members you have, how board meetings work, what officer positions exist, and how you handle things like stock transfers. Now, step 4, issuing your founder's stock. This is where a lot of founders make mistakes. When you first start your company, the value of your shares is essentially zero, but that's a good thing for tax purposes. You want to issue your founder's stock early when the valuation is at rock bottom. Here's how it works. You create a restricted stock purchase agreement for each founder. Let's say you're issuing 4 million shares at a price of 0.0001 per share. That's a fraction of a penny. At that price, it'll be a total purchase price of $400, and you'll actually pay this into your company bank account for the shares. Now, the 83B election is very important. You need to file an 83B election within 30 days of receiving your shares. This is a form that you send to the IRS that shifts when you pay taxes on your stock. Without an 83B election, you get taxed when your stock vests. And that could be years later when your company is worth significantly more. But with an 83B election, you pay taxes now when your stock is worth almost nothing. So we're talking about a few $100s versus potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. So don't skip this step. Step 5. Set up vesting schedules. Investors will not fund a company where founders own their stock outright with no vesting. They're putting money into your company based on the assumption that you'll be there building it for years to come. The standard vesting schedule is 4 years with a 1-year cliff. You earn your stock month by month over 4 years, but you don't get anything until you hit that 1-year mark. After the first year, you get 25% of your shares, and then the rest of your shares vest monthly over the remaining 3 years. This protects everyone. If a co-founder leaves after 6 months, the company can buy back their unvested shares and redistribute them to someone who's actually going to do the work. Even you as the primary founder should have a vesting schedule. I just helped a company raise $2 million. The investor made them restructure their founder equity so that 75% of their equity vested over the 4 years instead of the 25% they originally set up. Step 6, sign your IP assignment agreements. Every person who touches your company needs to sign a confidential information and inventions assignment agreement. This protects your company by making sure that anything that's created for your business actually belongs to your business. And this applies to everyone: founders, employees, contractors, advisors, everyone. If your grandma gave you an idea that you built into your product, technically, she should sign one of these documents as well. Investors will check for this during due diligence. If someone on your team hasn't signed an IP assignment, that person could theoretically claim ownership of whatever they built. Trust me, it happens a lot, and that's a deal breaker. Step 7, get your EIN from the IRS. Your employer identification number is like a social security number for your business. You need this to open a bank account, file taxes, and hire employees and contractors. The good news is this takes about 5 minutes and costs nothing. All you have to do is go to the IRS website, search for apply for EIN online, fill out the form, and you'll get your number. But make sure you download it, otherwise you'll lose it. Step 8, open your business bank account. Now you can open a bank account in your company's name. You'll need your EIN, your certificate of incorporation, usually your bylaws, and often the bank will ask for your foreign qualification as well. This is where you as the founder will deposit your stock purchase price. Remember the $400 you owe for your founder shares? That money goes into this bank account. Make sure you keep your personal and business finances completely separate from day one because it protects you legally and makes your life way easier when tax time comes around. Step 9, create your board consent documents. A written consent of the board of directors is a document where your board makes official decisions without having a formal meeting. For a brand new company, this document usually handles things like electing officers, authorizing stock issuance, approving the opening of bank accounts, approving investment. Typically, you'll elect yourself or your co-founders to positions like CEO, CFO, and secretary. These are just titles that establish who has authority to do what in the company. Keep copies of all your board consents in your corporate records. Investors will ask for them. Step 10, stay compliant with annual requirements. Delaware requires you to pay an annual franchise tax. For most startups who use the assumed par value method, the minimum franchise tax is $400 plus a $50 annual report filing fee due by March 1st. You also need to maintain ongoing compliance, like keeping your registered agent, keeping your corporate records organized, and holding annual board meetings, even if it's just you and your co-founders sitting down with a coffee. If you're raising money, you need to file a Form D with the SEC. This must be filed within 15 days of receiving your first investment. This is a securities filing that a lot of founders don't even know exists. If you skip it, investors can potentially take their money back, you could get fined, you could even be prohibited from raising money in the future. You also will need to warrant and represent that you have filed this in future fundraisers. So if you're raising any kind of investment, work with a lawyer on this. Look, I know this process seems like a lot, and that's exactly why most founders who are serious about raising money don't try to figure this out on their own. So you have two options. You can either hire a general lawyer who doesn't focus on startup incorporation and hope they catch all the details that VCs actually care about when they do due diligence. Or you can work with someone who has helped hundreds of startups set up their Delaware C Corps specifically for fundraising and knows exactly what investors look for. If you choose that second option, click the first link in the description and book a free consultation with me. I'll dive deep into your specific situation, tell you exactly what you need, and handle all the paperwork so it's done right the first time. Again, you can book a free consult using the link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.